My castaway this week is the actress June Brown. It was on Eastenders over 30 years ago that Dot Cotton, trussed up in an overall with a fag in hand, entered the national consciousness as Walford's tragicomic Lady of the Laundrette. The storylines she's weathered throughout the decades are as nothing compared to the vicissitudes and triumphs of the actress's own life. A father who made and lost a small fortune, a sister, her best friend, who died in childhood, and yet, amid all this, she was a leading lady of stage classics, a mother of 5 children, and, of course, an award-winning TV actress, now about to turn 90 and still working. She says, "I've never entertained the idea of retiring because I've never regarded myself as having a proper job. Anyway, retirement can be the death of you." And so, June Brown, we welcome you to our desert island. You have made Dot, I think it's fair to say, into one of the great iconic TV soap characters. You've been playing her for a long time. You're sort of frowning as I say iconic there, but I'm afraid it's true. Do you still enjoy playing the character?
I'm making faces now because I can't bear. I'm just an actress, you know, and I've been very fortunate and I'm well known. I don't talk about myself as anything more than well known, and I'm lucky.
I know it is very indelicate to mention a lady's age, but it is worth letting listeners know that you're about to celebrate your 90th birthday. It's notoriously hard work being on a soap. How do you keep the energy levels up? Where do you get your energy from to still be working hard?
Well, I haven't really got very much now, but I find when I get on set that my energy comes. It's a bit like Dame Edith Evans used to call it Dr. Grease Paint. It's like people can go on the stage and break an ankle. They don't notice till they come off. But as soon as I get on the stage, it's as if I have energy. I can be feeling like death warmed up when I sort of come in. The shoulders drooping down, and then I'm alive. So it keeps me alive.
Do you think that's genuinely true? I used that quote in the introduction, that you feel that work for you is the reason to get up in the morning still.
Well, yes, I think that's why a lot of people are very lonely and get ill when they're older, because I think loneliness and having no motivation, nothing to work towards, I think it kills you.
So tell me what we're going to hear, June.
You're going to hear lovely Cliff Richard singing Living Doll.
And tell me, why is it on your list?
Because he doesn't really let people sing his songs, I've heard, and he allowed it to be played for me in my kitchen as Dot, and I did sing along with him in the sense of occasionally singing Living Doll. And he's a very nice man. I've met him and I admire him. And I remember at some soap award or other, you know, and he was being so nice to everybody. He wasn't eating, and I went and got him food and said, "You must eat something."
Got myself a crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living doll. Got to do my best to please her just 'cause she's a living doll. Got a roving eye, and that is why she satisfies my soul. Got the one and only walking, talking, living doll.
Cliff Richard and Living Doll. Actually, you're having a little chuckle at that. You were having a bit of a laugh when that was being played. What was making you laugh?
Well, I was thinking, when I first thought of my choice, I looked at all the songs and I thought, June, it's all unrequited love. It's nothing but misery. I thought, well, you had better be careful. I'll explain why to you later.
Yes, well, there's plenty of that to talk about, I think, the highs and the lows. One of Dot's storylines is currently in EastEnders is, of course, that she is losing her sight. Now, you yourself have partially been losing your sight a little bit. Is that fair to say?
Yes. I'm quite upset about that because it was done for other reasons, but everything has changed since the reasons. It sounds very mysterious. But the thing is that I feel that Dot is she's quick and she's quick moving and she's quick speaking. And if I do not want to become a dependent old woman, or otherwise my character is gone. And I might as well not be there.
And you are talking there about your character in the soap, or you're talking about yourself in real life?
I'm talking about the character in the soap, that, that I can run as Dot. I find myself running across the road, and I don't want to lose my character. It's like being in a wheelchair or something, not ever getting out of it.
They ask me how I knew my true love was true. I of course replied, something here inside cannot be denied. They said someday you'll find all who love are blind. When your heart's on fire, you must realize smoke gets in your eyes. So I chaffed them and I gaily laughed to think they could doubt my love. Yet today my love has flown away. I am without my love. Without my love. Now laughing friends deride tears I cannot hide. So I smile and say, when a lovely flame dies, smoke gets in your eyes.
June, here's the thing. You arrived at our studio today, and as I say, you're a woman of a certain age. You arrived entirely alone, but you were sort of soft shoe shuffling and bopping along in your chair. Your own independence, not in the soap, but in real life, seems very important to you. Is that fair?
It is extremely important to me, and I hate to feel I'm losing it, and if people put out hands to help me out of a car, I say no thank you, I won't accept it. And I get up and I don't push myself up from the arm of a chair. I use my thighs, because you have to do that. You can act yourself into age. You can act yourself into anything you want.
And do you, maybe not argue the toss with the writers, but do you forcibly and reasonably put your case? Are you one of those actresses that feel you can engage with the writers?
Not to the writers. It's only through the editor that you can talk about this. Yes, I will ring the editors to say that this doesn't relate to that because my history suggests that I do this, that and the other, and I've already said this about that, therefore I can't say this because we need to move on. And they're very good to me. They really are. They're awfully kind. They allow me. Of course, they know I'm not only doing it for myself, I'm doing it for the scene and the sake of the series and the truth of it. You see, I had a training where everything was the truth.
Got any pills? Got any pills? Pill. You don't eat all the pills the nurses give you, do you?
Oh, no, I've got a few, but I need them for myself, see.
Go on.
Why?
Go on, give us some.
Well, how do you know them pills will agree with you? What's your name, dear?
Mind your business.
Here. What do you want in pills so bad?
Oh, everybody wants pills, dear.
In a few days, a week, I won't be able to move. I won't be able to speak. This could be my last chance.
How am I going to live with myself?
You'd be doing the right thing. I mean, I don't want to ask you. I never have, but help me, Dot, before it's too late.
Is this what you really want?
Yes.
I only want you to be happy.
I am. Don't cry. Oh, how silly. Never mind. Here. You know who you are. You're the best friend I ever had. There.
June Brown, let's have some more music. We're going to have your second now.
My mother used to play very well. She was a very good pianist and she had a lovely voice. And when we were there, this is the first thing I remember. She would play in the drawing room, play the piano, and we, as small children, would stand there and sing with her. Pale hands I loved beside the Shalimar.
That was Deanna Durbin singing the Kashmiri song, also known, as you said in the introduction there, June Brown, as Pale Hands I Loved. You were born in 1927 in Suffolk. You were the second of 5 children. It was a pretty comfortable childhood, comfortably off, was it?
Yes, but my father still had some money. He'd had a lot of money when he was young. He'd made a lot of money in what we called the Far East, and he was a produce buyer. My mother thought it was an immoral choice because you bought goods, produce, and you kept them until there was a bit of a drought or something, and then you sold them at, would you call that futures now or something?
I think you would.
Something like that. Anyway, Mother didn't think it was very moral. So anyway, unfortunately, he'd put all his money, it was a long time ago, in German banks in the 1913 sort of thing, and at the end of the war, the mark was worthless. So his what was $500,000 then, which would be several millions now.
Fortunes, really.
Yes, went down to £20,000, which was still a lot of money.
Now, of course, your EastEnders character, Dot, is devoutly religious. As a little girl, you went to evangelical meetings, and it's interesting you say your mother thought your father's profession, his fortune, was made immorally. Religion was important.
My sister, the one who died, Marie's, she was a very spiritual child, but I never knew anything about the spirituality. My mother told me that she'd asked for her Bible to be brought in, and she died very quickly, you know.
And you were very close to her?
1 year, 4 months apart, yes. And she was like my mother. I didn't really know my mother till later, because Marie's was my mother. We were always together. She looked after me. She was never nasty. She never said anything horrid. She was patient.
And how old was she when she died?
8.
It had a profound effect upon you.
Yes, it did, because I was very lonely, because she'd always been there.
You had a brother who also died in infancy, and it's interesting to me that you say you feel you didn't see that much of your mother during childhood. Was that because you had nannies bringing you up, or was that because she was busy with the other children? Or
I was always with Marie's.
Right.
I have memories of my mother playing the piano, as I say, and at the side door of the house coming out with scissors and blue crepe paper to make us dresses to do these performances of, I don't know, fairy stories.
So you do little plays as children?
Oh, yes, yeah. But you see, I remember my mother coming, and that was to make us costumes out of the blue crepe paper. And what else do I remember of my mother? Very little.
June, we're going to have some more music. What are we going to hear now?
We sang it at school, and for some reason it always stayed in my memory, and I even used to use it as a lullaby when I sang lullabies to my children. We couldn't find it anywhere, and so I asked the Ipswich High School, the music mistress, Mrs. Chillingworth, if she would get her choir to learn it and sing it, the school choir, and to record it for me. And I'm very grateful. And the girls were all quite thrilled doing it, apparently, so they'll enjoy hearing themselves sing, "O brother man, fold to thy heart thy brother."
Each might
Brother Man, Full to Thy Heart, Thy Brother, specially recorded for this programme. That was the choir at Ipswich High School for Girls, conducted by Angela Chillingworth, accompanied by John Chillingworth on piano. June Brown, you won a scholarship to secondary school. As a teenager, what did you think lay ahead? What did you think you might make your life doing?
I was quite a clever child. I don't know what happened later on, but, I was always top or second in the class, and I was very good at biology. I loved dissecting. I hate to say this, frogs underwater, rabbits that we gassed in a big biscuit box. People won't like that now, but we didn't think anything of it. I don't know what it was. We had a very pragmatic view of life. When I was at the high school, I decided I wanted to do something medical. I wanted to do maybe osteopathy, and I needed to go to the school of osteopathy, and it cost money, and my father did have it at the time. But when I said I wanted to do that, I couldn't have got a grant, and he said, "No, I'm not paying you for to go because you're a girl and you'll only get married."
In high school, did you start doing drama? Did you go on the stage at any of the school productions?
Not really, not a minute. No, at the church school, I played Alice in Wonderland in the party scene, Then at the high school, I think I played the Virgin Mary because Miss Catley thought I'd look beautiful in blue. I had to sing a lullaby, and I think I got a frog in my throat, so that wasn't very successful.
Let's jump a little towards your time in the Wrens during World War II. One of your roles there was, am I right, a cinema operator?
Yes, I was a cineop.
What were you showing?
I showed training films, really,
right,
to the sailors. It was how to survive in the jungle, how to survive at sea if you're shipwrecked at sea, things like that.
Tell me about this next choice.
Well, you see, this is partly why I said most of my choices were unrequited love. He was somebody who had escaped from Belgium, Raoul Lettermate, and Raoul came and stayed, and father was sorry for him because he was on his own in digs, and he said to mother, "Can he come and stay with us?" And he became like a brother, and he had a very good voice. And we used to stand around the piano again, and mother would play, and he'd sing, and she'd sing, and we'd all sing, and I was very much in love with him. And he told his mother, because he took me up there to stay for a week, left me. He was by this time called up into the army, and he left me there, and he told her that he was going to marry me when I was 16. But in that time they decided that they would use him in a better fashion, and he became, he was dropped into Belgium to join the underground.
So he became a spy?
Yes. when he came back, he was involved with somebody else whom he married. So that was very sad.
Did it break your heart?
Well, I suppose it did. I was stunned when I realised what had happened. But you see, this song was one we used to sing again. And it's the song of the broken heart, this is called. What happened was we were always writing to each other, and the letters just stopped. And I didn't know what had happened. And I did actually go up to London, and I wrote and said, I'll be coming up to Piccadilly, and I'll be there all day, which I was. And apparently his mother came to meet me, but I'd just gone to see if he might be in a restaurant that we'd gone to in Orange Street, just off Piccadilly. We just missed each other. I stayed there all day and he didn't come.
So this is a song for Raoul.
And I used to play this and sing it to myself.
Do you recall that night in June when first we met? Do you remember, love, the words we spoke? Have you forgotten all the tender vows we made in the silent, magical moonbeams' light? Gone are the golden rings with summer roses, and all our tenderest vows were made but to be broken.
The Song of Songs, Chanson de Cour Brisée, sung by Christine Brewer there, accompanied by Roger Vignol on piano. June Brown, you chose that for Raoul. That's more than 70 years ago, and as I watched you... Yes, as I watched you listening to that, you were in the moment of it, I think. I'd like you, if you will, to share a few more of your wartime memories, indeed the closing days of the war, with me. You spent VJ Day on the Mall.
Well, it was euphoric. I just remember the feeling of the atmosphere, and it was as if you were swirling around in a kaleidoscope, and one moment you were in Park Lane, and then the next moment you were in the Haymarket. And I remember there was a little night drinking club called the Blue Ball, and I had exchanged my cap, my Wren cap, which was a beret, rather nice one, for a French sailor's cap with a red pom-pom on. I don't remember any immorality concerned with it. No, not as far as I was concerned. I believe it went on in the park, but I don't know. But it was such joy, because that war had gone on for a long time.
By the time 1947 arrived, you had applied to this brand new college. You were successful in getting in. You were one of a very few students to get into the Old Vic Theatre School. What was it that had prompted you to think that this is what I'm interested in, this is my future?
Because I'd done a play in the Wrens at the last minute. I did a play called Call It a Day. I then was demobbed and I didn't really know what to do. And my sister came home with the Times, an advertisement, saying there was this new school, the Old Vic Theatre School, which was starting up in January, and to apply.
And after you had graduated, it is extraordinary to think that you were working alongside people like Edith Evans, John Gielgud, Alec Guinness, in those early years of your stage career. To look back on that, I mean, it seems like an absolute golden age of British stagecraft.
I did play Foible, which was the restoration made to Dame Edith Evans, and she gave me a lot of wonderful tips.
What tips did she give you that you can share?
Well, I went on, my first line was, "Madam, I've seen him." So I just dropped it on the floor. "Madam," I said, "I've seen him." And she said, "Say, I've got the tickets." So I said, "I've got the tickets." And she said, "No, say, "Madam, I've seen him," like that. So I said, "Madam, I've seen him." "That's it, dear," she said. "You see, it's like music. We have to give each other the right note. I can't do it without you, and you can't do it without me. it's like music, you see, dear. And that was a wonderful note. I mean, it's all Johnny one note nowadays, isn't it?
Poor Johnny one note sang out with gusto and just overlorded the place. Poor Johnny one note yelled willy-nilly until he was blue in the face. For holding one note was his ace. Couldn't hear the brass, couldn't hear the drum. He was in a class by himself, by gum. Poor Johnny one note got in Aida, indeed a great chance to be brave. He took his one note, howled like the north wind, brought forth with that made critics rave. While Verdi turned round in his grave, couldn't hear the flute or the big trombone. Everyone was mute. Johnny stood alone. Cats and dogs stopped yapping, lions in the zoo all were jealous of Johnny's big trill. Thunderclap stopped clapping, traffic ceased its roar, and they tell us Niagara stood still. He stopped the train whistles, boat whistles, steam whistles, pop whistles, all whistles bound to his steel. Sing Johnny one note, sing out with gusto and just overwhelm the crowd. So sing Johnny one note out loud. Sing Johnny one note. Sing Johnny one note out loud.
June Brown, it's time for more of your choices. We're on your 5th of the morning.
And this is something we used to dance to. It's to do with the war. There are loads of lovely songs. And this one, I had a rather nice boyfriend at the time, man-friend. I don't like the word boyfriend. And he was a submariner. I used to go down the submarine and we'd have pink gin and things like that. And then we'd dance. And he'd throw me around the floor because he was a bit sort of violent. He wrote me lovely poetry and I lost it.
Oh.
I know.
Better accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In-Between. No, do not mess with Mr. In-Between. Do you hear me?
That was Bing Crosby with the Andrews Sisters singing Accentuate the Positive. You met your first husband, the actor John Garley, at the Old Vic. What were the circumstances of your meeting? Were you playing opposite each other?
No, he was just in the company, and he was a very amusing person, and he had an enormous personality. And I remember he had bare feet in it. It was 12th night he was playing, and I remember his feet seemed to twinkle. I don't know. But he had a way of making every part different. He had a touch of genius, quite honestly. And that was it. It was nothing to do with the way he looked, because he wasn't very handsome. And when I was with him, I was with a lot of people, because he was an incredible impersonator. And he could do Churchill better than anybody I've ever heard. There was an actor, a musical comedy actor, a Frenchman called Georges Guittari. And I used to say it to him in the car, sing like Georges Guittari, Johnny.
And did you regard it as a happy marriage? Were they happy times as far as you were concerned?
Yes, we were great friends, and we enjoyed simple things. We'd go for walks in the evening. We always lived in other people's houses. If they went off on tour, the actors, we'd live in their flats. So we were like gypsies. We'd play Scrabble and we'd drive, yes. You know.
As you describe it then, this sort of unencumbered life with two young actors who were busy enough and who got on and who didn't argue, and then the night comes suddenly when your husband commits suicide. Was it entirely out of the blue for you?
No, I don't think so. You see, he was always being put under somebody else who wasn't as good as he was, and by this time Johnny had kind of lost heart.
And how did you, as a young woman, recover from your husband's suicide? How did you put yourself back together again after it?
Well, friends were very... through my friends. And I was very careful about it all. I used to cry in the car all the time on my own, but I never showed it. And I think people used to say, oh, isn't she marvellous, June? And a very wise old lady, Den Gilks, used to teach music and at Stratford. She was lovely. And she said, well, I wish she would break down because it will happen sometime. But it didn't seem to.
And it didn't ever?
Not really, no, because I married again quite soon after that.
And we shall talk about that, June Brown, in just a moment. But for now, we must fit in some more of the music. I want you to tell me about your sixth choice of the morning.
This is one of the songs that Johnny, I'd say, sing like George Guittari when we were in the car, and he would. And then when I was in Lace, in Chamonix, in the south of France, I was talking to a young man, and I discovered his name was Francois Guittari, and I said, are you any relative to George? And he said, he's my father. And I told him this story, and he was quite surprised, because it is a long time afterwards that there were still people who remembered his father.
The beautiful Marguerite. In September when the grapes are purple, Marguerite pick the grapes with me. There are silver bells upon her fingers, all the little birds come out to see. Ma belle Marguerite, so beautiful to see. Les mains de ma petite Marguerite picking grapes with me. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
That was Georges Guittari and Ma Belle Marguerite. June Brown, you went on to marry another actor, Robert Arnold, and that was the same year, I think, that you played Hedda Gabler.
Yes.
A huge challenge for any actor. You were 31, you were newly married, you had suffered a bereavement just the year before. How did you view the challenge, the immense challenge in anybody's career of going on stage to play the part of Hedda Gabler?
I never think of anything as a challenge. It's a very modern word now, you see.
How did you think of it?
To me, it's just a part.
Right.
And it was a leading part, and I looked at it and I thought, she's a very empty woman. She was, you see. I said, how is this a great part? I thought to myself, she doesn't really say anything. She listens to other people. She's like a leech, really.
Then in your second marriage, you had Is this right? You had 6 children in 7 years. I know one of your children died in infancy very early on, but that's a lot of pregnancy in a short amount of time.
I know. Well, it just happened, I don't know.
Did you take much time off at all? I don't get the sense that you did when I look at your CV.
No, not really, but you see, I did a lot of television. I did do the stage as well. I used to take them to work with me sometimes, though.
Where did you put them?
In the dressing room.
When you were on stage?
And also when I was rehearsing one, Louise, I used to take her in the guards van in a pram, stand up all the way from South Croydon it was at the time, and up to Charing Cross, and wheel the pram up St Martin's Lane, and the body, very heavy in those days, lifted off, put into Irene Brown's dressing room. She never knew. And then I'd rehearse, and at lunchtime, when they all went out, I'd feed the baby and get a sandwich and milk. And then when they all went home, I'd feed the baby and then go home in the guards van. I don't know how I did it, quite honestly, now when I look back.
No, I really don't know how you did it, because
but my sister helped me a lot, Rosemary, because we lived very close opposite, and she would look after my children for me. And then I'd have au pairs just when I worked, but not when I didn't.
Did your husband help?
He could do when he felt like it. He was very capable, and if I was out to work, he would look after them. But, it was drop tools as soon as I came in. It wasn't like nowadays, we didn't have house husbands, really.
It's time for some more music, June Brown. We're going to hear your 7th. Tell me a little bit about this next choice, what it is and why you've chosen it.
Well, actually, I used to sing a lot of songs, As each child came along, the baby would be on my lap and the children would be in bed. And they had a large room that was a kind of nursery when they were small. And then I would sing. It would be Over the Sea to Sky, because Carry the Lad Who's Born to be King, and that was my son William. And then I did for the others, I just did, Jesus Bids Us Shine, and Jesus Wants Me for a Sunbeam, and Oh Summertime. I used to ring. I had a good voice and I could actually go at the top of Summertime down to the bottom, but I can't anymore. I wish I could. And so I used to sing every night to them. Quite a long time.
Speak, bonny boat, like a bird on the wing, onward the sailors cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king, over the sea to sky.
That was Barbara Dixon and the Sky Boat Song, and memories for you, June Brown, of all the lullabies that you would sing over the years to your children. Aged 82, you were back on stage stripping off for Calendar Girls. Are you by nature an exhibitionist?
Well, no, but if you were on the stage, it didn't matter. It wasn't like being in a room or anything. You see, when I was in the Vic, I played the Vision at whoever's court it was in Faustus, and I got this costume which was cut under the bust, and there was a little bit of coffee-coloured net over your bosom, and then I used to use coffee-coloured makeup anyway, so it looked as if there was nothing on. It didn't worry me at all because I wasn't myself. So it's the same with Calendar Girls. We were supposed to be naked, so I was the only one who had nothing on. But I had this big knitting bag over my private parts and top of my legs, my legs, and I had shoes on, that's all.
When you say you were the only one who had nothing on, were the other... Because, of course, everybody...
Well, they had their tights on, you see. It looked about flesh-coloured tights. Yes. Thin, but,
But you wanted to do it naked?
Well, I was what we were supposed to do. And then I had a couple of knitting squares, like you do for a blanket. And I had one on each needle that I held up in front of my bottom.
Tell me about being in a theatre when you hear the laugh and you know it's for you and what you're doing and what you...
It is the most wonderful feeling to be on the stage, because you have a direct contact with the audience, which you don't have in television.
I imagine there's not much point in asking you about the prospect of retiring. Are you interested in retiring at all?
No, not at all, no. No, I couldn't possibly. What would I do?
You've had that audience appreciation. I understand what you're saying. It's different on television, but doubtless it has been there for your character over these last 30 years, and indeed from the stage before and during that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to cast you away to a desert island where you're going to be all alone, no audience there to appreciate you, no fan letters, nobody coming up to you in the bar. How do you think you would cope alone on a desert island?
I don't really know. You think about it, you think it'd be... I'm quite believe it or not, a solitary person now. I'm a lot on my own, and I like silence. I don't put the television on, I don't put the radio on. I do read an awful lot.
Are you a practical person? Do you think, would you...
Not really. I mean, I could light a fire and I might be able to get fire with sticks and things, and if I had a piece of glass I could do it from the sun probably. I don't know how I'd get rid of salt out of water. I don't know, I might be a bit scared. I used to be frightened of the dark. And if there were animals on it, if there were snakes, well, I'd be in the sea all the time, I think.
It's time to go to your 8th, June Brown. What are we going to hear now, and why have you chosen this piece of music?
We're back to the Unrequited Love, but it isn't actually. It's a theme from. It's one of those when they take a theme from the classical music and use it, so it's not really... I'm not being very clever and having lots of classical music. We're only popular today.
With words by Goethe and music by Tchaikovsky, that was None But the Lonely Heart, sung by Leslie Garrett with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Peter Robinson there. So, June Brown, you will get some books on this island. You get the Bible and the complete works of Shakespeare, and you get to take another book along. You're frowning now. Do you know what your book's going to be?
I just want a library. Can't I have a library?
No, I've done that before and got into severe trouble. You're not allowed a library. You're only allowed one book.
I don't know how it exists. The story of San Michele. Oh, I've got about 3 copies now, and I'm trying desperately to remember who wrote it. Axel Munther, who was Swedish and a doctor. And it is very interesting because he did all sorts of exciting things. Yes.
You may have that book then. And you're allowed a luxury too. What's your luxury going to be?
Well, I'm going to take a packet of tobacco seeds, I think, and grow my own. I'm not sure about the paper. I think I could probably make it out of very thin leaves, like you do a cigar. Or maybe even some of the tobacco leaves. Yes, that would be a good idea.
We shall give you those tobacco seeds then. And one disc, you're looking very naughty having said that, one of the discs that you have
I'm trying not to laugh. I know why.
And I am making no comment on the tobacco seeds. One of these discs, if you had to save just one, June, which one would it be?
I think it would be Pale Hands I Loved Beside the Shalimar.
So that is the Kashmiri song that was sung today by Diana Durbin. Thank you.
Very first song I ever remember hearing.
It's yours then. June Brown, thank you very much for letting us hear your Desert Island discs.
Thank you. It's said that the whole of the time since the world began was a toilet roll, and you unrolled it and laid it out. Your life would be less than the width of an hair, right at the very end. Shows you where we are in the scheme of things. Less than the width of an hair. And how do we spend that time? So I reckon Ethel had the right idea. Enjoy the time you got. It's over in the blink of an eye.